The British government says it is concerned over the continued incarceration of lawmakers of the opposition Citizens Coalition for Change and political violence ahead of Zimbabwe's 2023 general elections. Responding to a question in the House of Lords posed by Liberal Democrat Lord Oates, the British Minister of State in the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, Lord Goldsmith, said the UK is concerned by the trend of lengthy pre-trial detention of government critics in Zimbabwe. We are monitoring the ongoing detention of the MPs Job Sikhala and Godfrey Stole. As the ambassador publicly stated on October 2, the UK is committed to the fundamental right to peaceful assembly and association as enshrined in Zimbabwe's constitution. The former Minister for Africa also raised the issue with the Foreign Minister of Zimbabwe on June the 30th. Lord Oates noted that Sikhala and Stole have been detained without bail for 142 days in Chikurubi Maximum Security Prison and paraded before court in leg irons. And only 2 weeks ago, the Bulawayo MP Jasmine Tofa was violently assaulted as part of an attack on CCC activists. He said across Zimbabwe, political violence is raging in lead up to the 2023 general elections. Lord Oates appealed for King Charles' support in condemning Zimbabwe's brutalization of the opposition. Will he join me in calling on the Zimbabwe government to end this political violence now? Will he join me also in making clear to ZANU-PF officials and ministers, members of the Zimbabwe Republic Police and Zimbabwe prison officers that the world is watching and holds them accountable for the safety and security of all Zimbabwean citizens? In his response, Lord Goldsmith said, "I thank the Noble Lord for raising this enormously important issue. He is right. The world is watching, and of course the UK is deeply concerned by the challenging human rights situation in Zimbabwe. Political parties, journalists and opponents should be able to operate without any form of harassment. We regularly call for the rights of freedom of assembly and association, as well as the rule of law and due process to be respected in line with Zimbabwe's own constitution. We monitor all individual cases, including those that he mentioned, such as that of Jasmine Tofa MP. All political violence is concerning, and violence against women in politics is of particular concern, particularly in Zimbabwe." His sentiments were echoed by Lord St. John of Blesto, who also expressed concern over the deteriorating political situation in Zimbabwe, and he said indications are that the country won't conduct a free, fair and credible election next year. My lords, following the continued violence against opposition supporters and candidates at Matabeleland election last weekend and the refusal of the Electoral Commission to release the electoral roll, what chance is there of being there free and fair elections in Zimbabwe in July? Lord Goldsmith said the United Kingdom is working closely with international partners to encourage the Zimbabwean government to live up to their own constitution and commitment to electoral reform, including by implementing the recommendations from the 2018 electoral monitoring reports. We recognize that there's been only very limited progress to date on the electoral reforms recommended in the 2018 paper. Key outstanding areas include a transparent voter registration process, publication of an accurate voters' roll, transparent use of state-owned resources, and more effort to demonstrate the independence of the Electoral Commission. This remains a priority in our discussions with not just Zimbabwe, but neighboring countries as well. The Bishop of Southwark was also concerned about the current situation in Zimbabwe, noting systematic corruption and long-standing poor level of government in Zimbabwe is undermining civil society and reducing the well-being of the people and the constitutions there, including the chief